the next Cartoon Theater, Granny makes a bet to save a local park.
My Tweety can travel around the world in 80 days, collecting the paw prints of 80 cats.
As the journey unfolds, we realize not everyone has come along to help.
No foreign pussycat's gonna nab my lunch.
An all-star cast appears in a race against time and a very determined feline as Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents Tweety's High-Flying Adventure next Saturday at 5 on Cartoon Network.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Bryson Booker, and welcome to another special cartoon movie review just for you and you and you and you. Anyway, it's Tweety's High-Flying Adventure. It's the movie that I'm going to be reviewing today. It was released by Warner Brothers in September 12th, 2000. And it was really the first full-length movie, direct-to-video. Let me mention that. It was a direct-to-video movie starring Tweety Bird. And to this date, it's really been Tweety's only feature-length film starring himself. As, you know, the main character, at least. This movie kind of branched off from a show that Tweety was in called the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries, which was one of the first kids' WB shows that premiered in 1995. This movie features some of the same people that worked on that show and was directed by Tom Minton and James T. Walker. It stars Tweety Bird, Sylvester, and also you get cameos by Taz, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Marvin the Martian, and even some of those Looney Tunes characters that you're like, darn, was that a Looney Tunes character? And only Looney Tunes historians would actually know who they are, like those two little rats, the blue one and the brown one, and then that one guy with the hair and the big nose, and, you probably have no idea who I'm talking about, those characters. And you won't have any idea who they are in the film, but they put them in there, and they're supposedly Looney Tunes characters, and they actually are, and they come from some pretty old shorts. But anyway, this movie is pretty decent. And so I'm just going to give you a summary of what the movie is about, and then tell you my opinion about it, and then we will be high-flying up out of here, if that joke just made any sense. Anyway, so Tweety and Tweety's granny, played by June Foray. June Foray, the granny, basically places a bet with this guy who's supposed to be the antagonist of the film, or the evil guy. She places a bet with him, saying that my Tweety can fly around the world and get 80 cats' paw prints and bring them back. And the guy's like, no, felines are better. Cats can do anything. And so Granny literally places a bet with him saying Tweety Bird can fly around the world in 80 days and get 80 paw prints to bring back and basically show him. And Granny literally bets everything on Tweety, including a local homeless shelter that can't afford to pay for itself. So Granny's like, I'm going to bet everything, and, if I win, hopefully, Granny wants to get everything that obviously she betted, plus save the homeless shelter with the homeless children in it. And that's basically the story. And so while Tweety's traveling the world, he meets a new friend, and Sylvester obviously still wants to pursue him. And basically Sylvester wants Tweety to be his lunch. And along the way they run into all the Looney Tunes characters around the world. Basically almost every major Looney Tunes character makes an appearance. Those names that I just listed, as well as Foghorn Leghorn, Henry Hawk, no Porky Pig or no Elmer Fudd. I don't know why they didn't get any love in this film, but every other major Looney Tunes character makes an appearance in Tweety's High-Flying Adventure. And so that was the plot that I just basically summarized to you. And so now I'm just going to give you my opinions of the film. I got to say that rewatching it after all these years, the story is kind of stupid to me. Because it's like, you place a bet really, just to place a bet, just to prove someone wrong. You're having your little precious canary fly around the world to get 80 paw prints from these cats. Just to say birds are better than cats, basically. So the story is kind of, off, and I think the writers knew that the story kind of sucked because they were trying to cut corners and, trying to overshadow what was really going on with songs and, trying to make it seem like the story really wasn't that important when it really was to this film. They tried to make it seem like, oh, well, it's a story. It works. And I mean, it did work, but it could have been better. He could have been traveling the world to obviously find out more than, to get a stamp from the country he's been in and get the paw prints of the cat. There could have been a little bit more, I guess you could say, of a reason to why Tweety would do that and why Granny would want him to do it. And so that's what kind of fell short for me. But I mean, despite the lack of story, or, there's a story, but it's not a very good one. Despite that, Warner Brothers still pulled it off. The clever humor is there. The sarcasm of Looney Tunes is there. It feels like a Looney Tunes movie, sprinkled with songs. Because, every family movie has to have songs. Thanks a lot, Disney. You started that one. And Warner Brothers basically said, hey, let's make our movies with cheesy songs for families to sing along to. I'm glad they didn't come out with a sing-along video for this, because it really would only feature 3 songs. And that's a good thing. It doesn't have a whole lot of singing. The singing really contributes to the story and what's going on. So the singing doesn't get overly annoying. It contributes to what's going on at the current time in the film. Another thing that kind of falls short of this film is the environments. Guys, something? I know this is a direct-to-video movie, but the last direct-to-video movie that I reviewed, well, direct-to-video special, whatever you want to call it, Muppets Classic Theater, that, even though that was a direct-to-video release, they put a lot of doggone effort into that. This movie, yeah, the character design is great. All the characters look great. The animation is great. But the designs and the animation of the countries that they go to just falls flat for me. It's like they really could have gotten creative with the animation right there, and they didn't. And that kind of sucks. The only slightly creative thing that they did to the environments was in a montage where Tweety and her friend, well, no, not her, his friend Auga travel the world in like a montage, and you get to see different animation styles, for like New York and Egypt and San Francisco. They tried to get a little bit creative there, but not much, and so the environments to me could have been so much better, because it's like, come on, Warner Brothers, the environments could have just been more engaging instead of bland to me. And even though it was direct to video, they could have put a little bit more effort into that. I'm nitpicky about that because I'm a big cartoon freak, so I do care about this kind of stuff. But other than that, guys, it's a great movie. It has the clever Looney Tunes comedy that you would expect from a Looney Tunes film without trying too hard. This was still at a time where Warner Brothers didn't have to try so hard because the Looney Tunes were still relevant at that time. Unlike now where they have to try really, really hard to make a Looney Tunes movie a Looney Tunes movie. Or let's just go back to 2003 with Back in Action when they tried really, really hard to make that a Looney Tunes movie. Well, Tweety's High Flying Adventure isn't like that. Not one bit. And it just is a good movie. Like I said, the story's kind of meh, but they make it work with what they had to work with and the time frame they had to do it. And, to me, it turned out great. Joe Alaskey, who does the voice for Tweety, Bugs, Marvin the Martian, and Sylvester. I love Joe Alaskey. Besides Mel Blanc, another person who definitely did the Looney Tunes right, in my opinion, was Joe Alaskey. And he does a great job. All the voice actors do a great job in this film. Jim Cummings, who plays Taz in this film, he does an awesome job. Everybody, all the voice actors, do a great job, as usual. in this Warner Brothers production. Tress MacNeille, she does some voices in Tweety's High Flying Adventure. And if you don't know who these people are, maybe you should get to know them after this video, because they've probably been in some of your favorite animated programs when you were a kid. Hopefully you're not watching this video because of nostalgia. Hopefully you're watching this video because you're a fan of Looney Tunes, and you basically watch the Looney Tunes almost every day. And this movie should be a part of that playlist. So, thank you for watching. Check out this movie. It's a great movie from Warner Brothers, released in 2000. Tweety's High Flying Adventure.